Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to our Road to Glory with Derby. As you can see, we are no longer rock bottom of the championship, which is massive because we are still only in November. So I'm going to show you the competitions and what's happening here in the league. Fulham are sitting here on top on 37 points. Have only lost 2 games so far. Bournemouth have only lost 1 game and on 34 points. And as we find our way down the table, we have played a game less than Reading and Coventry. And we're 2 points behind Reading and we're 3 points behind Coventry. So if we win this game in this episode, we will be out of the relegation zone after only 16 games of the league season, which is absolutely massive considering we started 21 points behind in the league. So if you are excited for where this team is going and where this save is going, make sure you smash a massive thumbs up on this episode because we are taking on Barnsley, who are sort of mid-table, I reckon they are. There they are. They're in 16th place, 4 wins, 6 draws, 5 losses. It is a very winnable game. But since you saw us against Sheffield United, it's been a really good run of fixtures. We had a 3-1 win against Reading, which was pretty safe until sort of the 90th minute. Swansea, we lost 1-0. Preston, we won 3-1. Luton, 4-1. Coventry, 2-1. And actually, we're 1-0 down against Coventry as well. And then we've just beaten Blackburn Rovers, who were second when we played them 4-3 in a really entertaining game of football as Tommy Lawrence scored a hat-trick. I have changed the shape slightly. You might recognise it from Zealand. I've sort of played around with a few of the different roles, though, to suit the players that we've got. But we actually could probably go with double wing-back on attack, which I think we're going to start games with, and then if we need to adjust it, we can adjust. Forsyth is a fullback on support, so we might actually just flip this all around, to be honest. Fullback on support. Knight can go on that side as the box-to-box midfielder, and White can go as the... Actually, what's Knight? Can Knight play box-to-box? He can also play Carrillo. We might leave Knight as the Carrillo. No, we won't. We'll leave Harvey White as our Carrillo, which is fine. Carrillo. So we've got one that's going to go out and support the wing back, and Forsyth is going to be the fullback. We've got Delap and Lawrence there with Aziz, who suits this centre mid on attack role quite well. Obviously, he's on loan, so we're going to have to try and get him back next season. But that is the team we're going to go in with because it's probably our strongest team on paper anyway. It gets a lot of our better players. Sibley could probably play in that midfield role too, but I want to give Aziz some minutes too. So we'll see how he goes. We've got Millwall coming up very shortly as well. So we'll probably look at getting Sibley a start against Millwall. But here we go against Barnsley for a chance to get out of the relegation zone after only 16 games. This would be absolutely fantastic if we can do it. And we were only playing pretty much the same shape, but with the defensive midfielder playing as an attacking midfielder. So I've gone a little bit more direct with our play and taken away the number 10 and put them in the midfield line. So we've got the extra numbers in the midfield to try and help us build out from the back, and then once we sort of get to that midfield line, we should have 2 runners going in behind, which is what we want to see, just like that. But I don't know why Delap was just waddling towards the ball. But as I mentioned, we are in November, which means January is around the corner, which means for the championship, the fixtures are going to be coming thick and fast as well. So we need to look at the January transfer window and see if we can maybe bring one player in to strengthen, and it's probably maybe another fullback, or it's definitely probably another centre mid on attack, and that is a great ball towards Morris. But I don't think we need too much. I think we're playing some really good football, although we're, sat down here on 9 points. You add an extra 21 points to it, and we're sitting, on, 20, and, sitting on in the 30s, and it's just, it could be an absolutely different season without the points deduction, which is really positive for next season. So I don't want to change too much. maybe if we can set up an affiliation with someone so we can keep getting some free loans in, and if Delap does well and Aziz does well and White does well, then we can look at bringing them back next year. Lawrence goes through and he has been absolutely unbelievable, and I think next season, if we're to go up out of the championship, then that would be fantastic. If we could somehow find our way into the playoffs, so looking at Millwall, it'll be interesting to see how many points we need to make up, because there's still like 30 games. So if we could somehow, from a 21 points deduction, find our way into the playoffs, that would be unbelievable. I'm not expecting that whatsoever, but Millwall sit on 24 points at the moment, and we're on 9. If we win this, we get ourselves up to 12. So you're talking like a 14, 15 point gap to the playoffs, which is probably doable at this stage with, you know, what's that, 18 games left. We're playing 42 is what we play. So, you know, there's still 20 odd games left of the season. There's plenty of points on offer. If we can just keep performing the way we've been performing, there's no reason why we can't rifle our way up the league. And I think Nottingham Forest actually did it in this season in real life. They managed to sort of catapult themselves up from very low down, but obviously 21 points would be a absolutely remarkable gap to close. And then I would say if we get ourselves into that position of being in the playoffs, then I'd back us in to try and find a way out of the champ. If we could get out of championship, you know, this season, that would be the greatest individual season of FM. Full stop. There's no way you could tell me that another person could have even a quadruple. I reckon this would be harder than a quadruple to be able to recover from a 21 point deficit and get into the playoffs and get into the Premier League. That would be almost unheard of. That's a good ball in, especially with the squad that we've got, because we've got lots of young kids that are in our team at the moment and not heaps of experience, but we've got some really good loans and some good kids in the team trying to push us towards promotion. So small steps. We obviously need to chase down that middle pack, but the championship is a funny division where teams will take points off teams all over the place, and teams will go on massive runs of form, but similarly they will lose some games in a row as well. So let's see if we can start this second half on the right foot. Can we maybe find a goal early as Aziz looks for Delap and it only gets played back to Walton? Barnsley looking really defensively solid in this 5 at the back system, which is quite frustrating, but Davies on the ball here finds Forsyth. I'm probably looking at some early changes because we have played a few games back to back as we go long towards Liam Delap, Rory's son, who has bags of potential, finding Knight, who strikes it straight into the defence, and we find our way to get a corner, maybe gives us an opportunity to get our boy Davies up for it. Ball goes in, was actually well dealt with by Morris, and that is all we get from that highlight. I'm going to encourage the boys, can we maybe just nick a goal here on the break? Obviously, they've got their 5 at the back, so we got to try and let them bring the heat just like this. Try and isolate their 3 defenders with our 2 attackers. Good ball across the box. I'm surprised there isn't a penalty. That's exactly what we're talking about. Delap gets up, nods it for Lawrence. Lawrence looks for Delap. That is the exact type of counter-attack we need. Big hoof ball forward, finding the head of Delap into Lawrence, back to Delap. That's what we want to see from the 2 advanced forwards. Now we're going to bring Jenkins on for Knight because he looked very tired. Forsyth is going to come off for Lee. Buchanan, because Buchanan needs some more minutes to get back into this team. And let's see what we can do. I'm going to try and hold off on some more substitutions until later in the game. That's a good ball in though. White gets there. Can we find a simple ball? We're looking for Lawrence, who may have been offside, but just put the pressure on here, which we do. And is there a chance here to win the ball high? They're going to have that extra man to build out with. So playing 3 at the back is going to be interesting with this shape because they're going to have that extra number, but we're going to have to force them to use their ball playing abilities to get out as they whip a good ball in towards the edge of the box, but that is never going to trouble Ruse, who has stepped in because Allsop has picked up a multiple week injury, which definitely isn't ideal. Aziz is probably close to coming off at this point as well because he is quite exhausted, and I want to get Sibley some minutes, and then we're going to go a little bit more aggressive and go into a Regista instead of the DLP on defend. So we're going to try and force the issue a little bit here by getting a little bit more aggressive with our play from defense. Once again, can we find a highlight? Are we going to be able to nick a goal to find our way into 3 more points here against Barnsley? I would absolutely love us to grab a goal here, but obviously, you know, points are points and we'll take them as they come. 15 minutes to play, and here we go. It is a highlight for the Derby lads. Burn finding our way through. Here we go. White, can we find something? Looks for Delap. What a ball. Don't know what he was trying to do there. I feel like he was trying to shoot, but I wouldn't be recommending shooting from that angle. And that ends the highlight, which is a bit disappointing. So let's see if we can create something else here. Up we go. Great header. Finding Burn. Not much on. Can he drop it inside? Looks for Sibley. Finds White as well. Burn out wide. Looking for Jenkins, who does really well. Sibley with a great strike. And it finds its way to Walton, and that would have been an absolute screamer if we would have been able to convert there. But now Barnsley get a corner through Gooch, and does he whip it in? And is it a good ball? It is a good ball, and Mads Anderson gets on the end of it. We're going to go slightly more direct. We're going to pass into space. In transition, we're going to distribute quickly. We're going to go much higher, get stuck in, prevent short. There we go. And we're going to force them outside. Let's go, fellas. Time to crank the heat up here against Barnsley. Frustrating to concede from a set piece like that, but can we find something? We're going to go on the attacking mentality as well. And can we find a late equaliser here to salvage a point, which would be massive because we just want to keep ourselves clawing away at that mid-table. That's where we want to be. And can we find a way to get through in a tough game here against Barnsley? Gooch, great ball in, back post, bang. Callum Styles nods in again, and it's the trifecta of centre-backs that are getting in the way for us. Gooch with a great ball to the back post, and we go 2-0 down in a game that on paper looks quite even, barring the possession. But once again, probably the lack of experience in this game for us has bitten us in the butt. But it is what it is. Can we find a late goal here that might spark a counter? Here we go. Sibley on his bike, has Delap, has Lawrence, doesn't use either of them. It's Louis Sibley who hits it straight at Walton, and if he found a way to score a goal there, we could have potentially found a way back in. It's White towards Lawrence. It falls short, and time is ticking away. Our XG is much better than Barnsley's, but we've come up short. We haven't been able to take our chances here today, and it is disappointing that we haven't been able to get a result, but you can't ride all these perfect results for forever. As Sibley has a shot blocked for Burn. Burn beats his man. Ball across to Lawrence, and what a save by Walton. And that sums up the game. Not our day here today, but it's okay because we are extremely close to getting out of relegation. So surely the ref blows the whistle. There it is. Lee Doughty blows the whistle. We go down 2-0. We had 16 shots, 7 on target to 12 and 4. Probably a very even game. I would probably say that we deserved a draw probably out of that one, but it is what it is. We'll take the loss. We've got Millwall to come, and I'm sure that we'll be able to find a positive result sooner rather than later. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon for another episode of our Road to Glory here with Derby.